What's up, folks? Today we're going to talk about Lost Ark's new solo raids, and I'm going to make a guide for the Akkan raid. I'm going to do a new series making a guide on all the solo raids, but we're going to start with Akkan because I had a few people asking about it. So the new solo raids in Lost Ark, you go to the raid screen just like normal, and instead of having a normal and hard mode, there's this little solo button that you can click now. As soon as you do that, you go in by yourself, and everything's easy peasy. So my goal with this series, by the way, is I'm trying to go over the major mechanics. So a new player, a returning player who's coming into the game, I want you guys just to have a heads up on what to expect for these raids. And if you're having trouble with a specific mechanic, this guide should also be able to help you out too. I'm not going to go over normal attack patterns because I want people to A, enjoy the raid and prog at their own speed and pace and learn as they go. B, that would take a very long time because there's a bunch of normal attack patterns. If you guys want a separate video on that, let me know. All right, so when you first load into a solo raid, it's going to give you a bunch of different options. It's called a Scale of Fate, and this gives you a very small buff during the fight. So stuff like additional sidereal meter, stuff like increased stagger bonus, move speed. So you can pick whatever you want. If you have low stagger, I'd probably pick stagger for the first gate at least. You can switch this throughout the raid if you want, but pick anything you want. It's not that big of a deal. So before you go into any gate, just like any normal raid, you're going to need battle items. And for gate 1, I recommend you bring health potions, of course. And you're going to bring, if you're a lower stagger class, I was on a destroyer when I did this, heavy stagger, so I was covered there. But if you want to bring a whirlwind grenade just to be safe, and then definitely bring panacea. This is different than the group raids. You normally don't bring panacea, but for solo mode, you're going to want that. So bring panacea. And this is the screen you're going to go in right before the raid. This is when you load in. You'll kill some trash after this. And then I just fast forwarded to the start of the fight. So this is the first mech that you're going to encounter. You'll see this boss that you're fighting, Marg. He will jump to the middle of the screen very frequently. A lot of bosses will do this when a mech's about to start. So you'll see him here. Puts his little leaf tentacles into the ground, jumps to the middle. So what you want to do here is he'll shoot out these green and black orbs all over the place. This is the same as in the actual raid. All you need to do is kill one of these. Exactly one. They're going to be either green or black. You'll see when they land here. See how this one's green up top, this one's black. Pick any one you want, kill it. You're going to get a debuff for the whole fight. This one's green, that's what I'm killing. So I got this plague entity on me. He's going to leave the screen, and he's going to leave this puddle with the spear here. He's going to land in a couple of seconds, and the ground, you'll see this black wave of like tendrils go across the ground. After a couple seconds, he will one-shot you if you are not standing on this spear. You don't want to go in the spear right away, though, because it'll take about 10% of your HP every second. So you're minimizing how much damage you take. So let him hit the ground, wait for the ground to go black, then you just walk on the spear. So we're hanging out. He'll land in the middle. All those other little orbs explode on their own. He lands, wait for the ground to go black. There it goes. So you can walk in here. It comes back, one shot. See how you're turned to stone? That's the whole mech. Mech 1 down. The next mechanic you're going to do is a stagger check. However, it's a special stagger check, and this is why you bring panacea, because you have to cleanse a debuff off yourself in order to do any stagger to this guy. So you'll see right now, stagger check starts, but I just hit him with an ability and it did nothing. Because you have this debuff in the bottom right here above your mana or your resource bar, you'll see this little green box. It'll last for 2 seconds. Once it's done counting down, it'll turn orange. Once it's orange, you can press panacea to cleanse yourself. The buff will turn red and you're allowed to stagger. So here you go, 1 second left, and panacea, it goes red, and I stagger. Boom. That's that whole mech, done. So the next thing he's gonna do is he jumps in the middle, and for solo raids, this is a little different because it's a team mech normally, so they had to make small adjustments here. In solo mode, he'll jump to the middle, and you'll have to kill one orb. See how it's always going to match you, I'm guessing, in solo mode. You know, I have a small sample size here. But if you have a black orb from the start, when you got this green or black orb on you, this is probably going to match. I've done it twice now. I haven't seen it be the opposite color of me, so I'm assuming it's always going to be whatever color you have. All you do is kill this orb, and then you're going to stand exactly where it is. So boom, kill the orb. He's going to stab you here. And normally you have to do stagger in the real raid, and solo, that's it. Now you just run to the outside and kill the orbs that match your color. Note on the other side, you're going to see black orbs here. See those? Do not kill those. Only kill the orbs that match your color. I'm green right now, so I'm killing the green ones. You can just auto attack, you can use abilities, whatever you want. And in solo mode, sidereals, you are going to get a lot of experience casting sidereals. And I've made a guide in the past how sidereals work. If anybody wants to go visit an old Voltan video I made that goes over the sidereals, that'll give you a quick understanding. But you always have 3 options. And this one is Control Z, X, and C. Those are the default keys. And as a general rule of thumb, they aim wherever your cursor is. So aim your cursor wherever you're trying to shoot him. There is exceptions for stuff like this one, Control C. It'll activate in a fixed distance in front of you, whichever way you're facing, but it won't get you into trouble in this raid. So you can, if you have really high damage, you're over leveled for this. When he stands up, you can cast a Nana here. The only reason why I bring this up is because there's a very special interaction later on in the fight where you use a Nana for a specific stagger DPS window. And if you have really, really high damage, you're probably not doing the solo raids, but just in case you are, if you wait and don't use a Nana before the next phase, you won't have it back in time. I'm assuming most people in solo raids are not going to have this issue, so we're going to wait for this cutscene when he stands up, and I'm going to hold the side, and I'm going to use it when he lands, and this is what I suggest most people do for now. As soon as you see where he lands, you can walk out of this red circle and use Thigh Rain, Control Z. Like I walk out and then I aim, Control Z, Thigh Rain will show up and hit him twice. This is just a DPS race. You have 50 seconds to get him to 90 bars here. About a minute, I guess, total. Once he's at 90, you're done. Cutscene, you're going to have to do a special interaction here where you run from the first starting location to the next area of the battle. And the way you do this is you just press G key on that area to hop over, and then you're sprinting. If you have a movement ability that hits those bugs, you're going to want to use it. You don't want to just walk through those bugs because they can stun you if they just run into you and explode. So if you have an attack skill that also moves you like I had there, it's a good time to use it. When you get to this point, your screen will go backwards, and there's 2 stairwells, one top, one bottom. All you have to do is figure out which way is safe. And the way you do that is see which stairwell is not blocked. We are going to be looking for some dust particles. So you'll see, like, it looks like sand almost in a second. There it is. So right up here, you see these rocks falling and a little bit of sand. I know that way is the blocked path. If you pick that direction in normal mode of the raid, you can break the barrier if you pick wrong. You run up there, there's a wall, but you can use a bunch of multi-hit skills and break it in time. In hard mode, you can't break it, you'll die. I'm assuming in solo mode, it's going to be the same as normal. I went the correct path, but if you go the wrong way, you might actually be able to kill it still. I didn't test myself, but just a heads up there. So now you just run the path that's not blocked by debris. This spot right here, you can just keep running. Puddles are going to form, so you don't want to linger. Just keep running. 2 more packs of bugs here. So you see I just use these skills to kill these bugs. At this point, we're going to wait for the water to raise past this mark right here. So I'm waiting for the water to go up the stairs. Once it covers this platform, you can jump over. You walk right on this spot and you just press G to hop over. Boom. I recommend you run to the middle once you hop over here because he lands right where you're standing. You'll see a red circle show up. So you want to fight this guy in the middle of the map as opposed to the edge because you can get knocked into the water now. There you go. All right. So he lands and you fight. Easy peasy. Next mech You'll see a pattern here. He stabs the ground, jumps to the middle. So one big monster is going to show up. Also, a bunch of small bugs will spawn during this, and this should look familiar, these two spears. So all you have to do is kill the big monster, wait for the ground to have that black tendril stuff go out, and then you stand on a spear. Same thing as before. So I kill the monster. You're going to want to kill these little bugs too as they walk towards you. Don't let them just run into you and explode. I think if you get 5 of them, you'll be frozen in place and you won't get to the safe zone. Ground goes black, walk into the spear, you're safe. Mech done. All right. Around 50 bars is the next mechanic. He's going to jump to the middle of the battlefield, and you're going to want to use the sidereal here. Control C. This one here, Banana. You'll see it's going to trigger a very special, like, hidden mechanic, if you will. It's a stagger check. So once you do this, you get like 20 seconds of free DPS. All you're doing is beating them up. Your goal here, if your damage is pretty good, you can get him to the next mechanic. It's around like 18 bars. So just keep going, beat him up for free. Once Anana disappears, this big gold circle, you can walk away from him because he's going to do a red explosion. Boom. All right, the next mech happens right here. So I did not bring flame grenades, but actually this is a good thing to mention. You guys are newer to this raid, a little less experienced. You should also bring flame grenades in gate 1. So health potions, flame grenades, panacea, because these little bugs are going to crawl out of the ground during this mechanic, and it can be a nuisance when you're juggling a lot of other things. So just something to think about. Bring some flame grenades. What you'll do is when the bugs crawl out of the ground here, you can throw flame grenades right where I'm standing, and it'll kill these bugs. So the way this mechanic works is you see this giant egg in the middle of the battlefield. The egg is going to get a shield on it 4 different times. And your goal is to break the shield every single time. If you do not break the shield before the next application, then the boss will get a damage buff in his final phase. It's not that big of a deal. I think I don't break one of the shields here, and you see it's not really that big of an issue, but that's how the mech's intended. So you want to kill these bugs so they don't freeze you. Worth noting is you can only damage this egg by walking in the middle in this green area. But you cannot stay here forever because standing in this green puddle gives you a stacking debuff. It's like you get 1 stack every second. If you reach 10 stacks, you die. So the way to cleanse that is by walking outside of the green area and just wait a couple seconds. It'll fall off of you and you can go back in to do damage. So I'm running around and I'm waiting for this bell sound and these shockwaves to come out of the top right of my screen here. So you'll see it shows up in a second. Boom. See those waves? That was the very first one. So now I want to kill this shield. You can see I have 5 stacks, 2 stacks now. I walked out, they cleansed. Waiting for the next round. Boom. Next round here. You want to kill this shield. I thought that ability would have killed it. I was like, oh no. This is the one I don't think I killed. Yep. So I just gave up. I said, forget it. Next round, this is the 3rd shield. Actually tankier than I thought it would be. I figured like 1 skill would do the trick. This is the last shield. Boom. Done. So it's a lot to juggle here. It can be kind of overwhelming because as you saw, these small little puddles are just randomly spawning across the map. So you don't want to get hit by too many bugs. You want to dodge the little puddles. They do damage to you. You want to break the shield when the sound waves go off, and you can't stand in the middle and get 10 stacks. It's a lot, but with a little practice, it'll make more sense to you. And the most important thing, obviously, just don't die. If the boss has some damage stacks, you're okay. Cutscene, final phase of gate 1. He'll land in the middle, you'll have your sidereal meter back, and you can thigh rain again as soon as you see the red circle. So thigh rain, walk out, and just let it rip. Make sure you aim your cursor at him. And then you have a quick, like DPS race. I think it's 2 minutes to kill him. That's the entire gate. You did it. Gate 1 down. Way to go. All right, gate 2. Less mechs overall. Gate 1 is very, very heavy on the mechs, but it'll take a little bit getting used to. So gate 2, the items you're going to want, I suggest you bring a corrosive grenade for the 0 mech. When you're doing this in a group setting, you normally bring destruction with your DPS, and the supports bring corrosive grenades. But because you're by yourself, you will get more use, more weak points bonus from a corrosive grenade than having just a destruction grenade. Either one's fine. That's just my recommendation. Also, you can bring a stealth robe, and that will help you with what they call the football mechanic. And I'll show you that in the video as well. So first mech goes to the middle. We'll start off with football. I think my damage was just a little high. Normally he'll jump to the middle like this and he'll spawn a couple tentacles. It's not really a mech, it's like a pseudo mechanic. But just stay out of the middle, kill the tentacles, wait for the green swamp poison to go away. But this is football, and the solo mode is unique. They made it so one person can do it. So let's see here. You get a quick little cutscene, and I'll let you see the map before I start explaining. So this skull, you want to keep it away from this mob that's spawning up here in the top right off the screen. You're just playing keep away. You can't let the monster reach the skull. So you just can pick it up, running up to it and pressing G. The problem is the longer you hold that skull, you start getting a stacking slow debuff. So if you just try to keep running, he would eventually catch you. In solo mode, they added these yellow circles in kind of each 4 corners here. And as long as you throw the skull into one of these yellow circles as you're running, it will cleanse the slow debuff and you'll get your normal move speed back. So you'll see I wait right here in the bottom right. This is what most groups will do. Here he comes. I pick it up, I start running. So I throw it in the yellow, cleanse my move speed, pick it up, throw it. You can space bar when you're not holding the skull. This attack he does is your best friend. They increase the frequency in solo mode, how often he does this, like, sounds gross, but it's pretty much just like a projectile vomit at you. Anytime he does that, it's giving you time to create distance between him and yourself, the skull. So whenever you see him do that red indicator, he's stuck still for a second, and you can just make some space. So keep running and just keep throwing the skull to cleanse yourself. If you ever want a breather, I believe I stealth robe once in here just to show you how it works. So you keep throwing in the yellow. So right there, I stealth robed or camouflage robed. This makes you undetectable. So you can press this stealth robe, lasts like 8 seconds, I think. So if he's ever getting too close to you and you're just panicking a little bit and you don't want to keep doing the mech and, you know, throwing the skull from yellow circle to yellow circle, you can stealth robe a portion of this mech. In the real raid, 2 people bring stealth robes, you cheese the whole thing. Can't do that in solo mode, but you can still bring a stealth or a camouflage robe to help you out, and you can just practice doing it. The key thing you need to know about the stealth robe is you cannot use it when you're holding the skull. So the skull has to be on the ground. You stealth robe first, turn invisible, then pick it up and run. You'll see he just sits still. Where I was standing last, where the skull was, he just stands there while I'm camouflaged. You'll see camo's about to end now. There we go. Once a con appears back in the middle, just throw the skull to like the nearest perimeter of the map and you're done. That's the whole mech. You'll do football, I believe, twice. And you'll probably do the lantern at least twice, too, in this fight. All right, that's football done. I believe the next thing we're going to do is lantern. Oh, this is tentacles. There you go. So see, just stay out of the middle, kill the tentacles. It's not really a mechanic, but you'll always see it, so might as well cover it, right? All right, bud. Oh, is he doing the, he might do the yellow ground is why I kept this. Let's see in 1 second here. This is also, we'll call it a pseudo mechanic. And you have a little bit of flexibility on how you want to use sidereal. So he'll do this yellow ground in 1 second after this normal attack pattern. I want you guys to see this. So anytime he does this, he'll do this several times in the fight. The ground goes like orange yellow. The most important thing that you need to remember is just stay out of the middle. That's the entire thing you need to know. Stay out of the middle of the map. He will do a series of attacks, and then he'll try and one-shot you. The screen will go black. He'll teleport right on top of you, and after a couple seconds, he'll do a swipe with this scythe. If you get hit, it just kills you. So, if you want, this is an opportunity for you to use a sidereal here. Most groups, when you're doing this in a group environment, they will use Anana, because Anana helps cleanse your plague meter. This is something that got introduced in Gate 2, and it'll remain for Gate 3. When you get attacked by certain things, you gain plague meter. When that fills up, your character gets frozen. You're like feared almost for a couple seconds. And also, a new player might realize you have this little red eye on you throughout the fight. This just slowly increases your plague meter. So if you're having trouble managing this meter and it's filling up too much, you're getting too many stacks and bad things are happening, you can use Anana when you have it to cleanse that down to 0. Plus, Anana lets you ignore his attacks and just sit there and fight him. So you'll see, I believe I used Anana on this one. Yeah, I did. So use Anana. See how that red just showed up on the screen right there? It was like half the map. He can pick either the inside will turn red or the outside will turn red. That's what you have to watch for. If you do use Anana, then you don't have to worry about that. It just does damage and gives you meter. If you do an Anana here, you can tank it, it'll cleanse you, and you can just fight him for free. He'll do a few attacks, and then I'll show you what the one-shot looks like. Your screen will go black, and he'll teleport to you. I'm ignoring all of his attacks and just fighting him because I have Anana. So here you go. He disappears, your screen goes black. Just walk away, don't be in front of him. You see that swipe? That's a one-shot. So that's the end of the mech. Now we're going to go right into Lantern. He teleports to the middle of the map. And something, if you guys want to just know a tip in general for Lost Ark, is you can watch the boss if they have a stagger bar. Anytime they do a major mechanic, you'll see this stagger bar will lock. So let's see if we can show you this real quick. So it unlocks and then it relocks because he's going from mech to mech. All right, Lantern. This mechanic is about you not getting frozen. Think of like Medusa when you turn to stone. You have to stay behind him as he's turning and stay in his shadow that he's casting. If you're outside of the shadow for too long, you will get frozen into stone and petrified, and then he'll just one-shot you. This is going to take you some time to get used to. The movements are a little wonky, and you need experience just to get used to the patterns. Somebody was asking me from chat specifically to go over the patterns, so I'll do that real quick. So Akkan, when he's doing Lantern, he can do 2 to 3 rounds. He'll always do 2 rounds, and he can do up to 3 tops. And what I mean by a round is he can do 2 to 3 movements per round. So let's see what he does first. It might make more sense. So what I'm watching for, do you see these floating skulls? Watch them for a second. You'll see they'll glow. One of them will. So boom, that one glowed. That's the direction he's going to move. So he's going to turn this way, meaning his shadow is going to turn this way. You can leave a little early, but you do not want to leave late. You'll get frozen frequently if he turns and then you try and catch up. So just try and practice and you'll have it in no time. So he turned and then I run back. So he started with a 180 pattern right there. That's a tough pattern to recognize. I don't want to bog you guys down with too many details right now. Just practice, get some repetition, and you'll start noticing things. So if he does a 180 right off the bat, he will always go back to start. That is 1 round. So we did 2 movements, round 1. So he can do at least 1 more round, but he has the option of doing 2 more rounds. Let's see what he does next. So you saw this one glow 90 degrees this way. You saw this one glow 180, back to start. So that was 3 movements. Second round is done. He can do 1 more if he'd like, or that's the end of the mechanic. Looks like it's the end of the mechanic. So regarding the person who asked me, shout out Shimmer Bubbles, who asked me to go over the patterns he has. So the only things he can do is 90 degrees, 90 degrees, back to start. So that's pattern 1. He can go 90 one way, 90 the same way, back to start. He can also go 90 one way, 180 the other way, back to start. If he ever goes the opposite direction, it's a 180. So if he does a 90 this way first, then he switches direction, the other skull glows, 180. If he starts over here and then does the other direction, 180. So 90, other direction, 180, back to start. He can start with a 180 like we saw in this video, 180, back to start. And then the last one that we didn't see, it's a very slow 360. So you'll see his lantern will charge up orange, and it's a slow turn, and you're just walking behind him the whole time. That's probably the easiest one. Those are the only options he can do. All right, hopefully that helps. So those are the mechs. You will see them multiple times, both lantern and the keep away football, as people like to call it. You'll see those multiple times in this gate. The final mechanic is when you kill him, you can see his health is 0. You're going to do a 0 bar mechanic. This is a gigantic weak point check. And this is why you bring corrosive grenades, and you're going to get a lot of practice using your sidereal skill here. For the 0 bar mech, you're going to use Thyrane because he does tons of weak point damage on the boss. We're going to let the screen load before I explain things. You do a quick little cutscene, and then it's just you. So, if your sidereal meter is full, you can Thyrane right off the start here, right off the rip. You also can throw your corrosive grenade when you have all your skills up, and you want to use as many of your weak point skills as possible while the corrosive grenade is up, because it boosts them by 1 point. So all your level 1 weak point become level 2, your level 2s become level 3. So Thyrane, corrosive grenade, use your weak point skills. The other thing you have to worry about is counters, and we'll wait till we see one of these on the ground. So this little ghost just spawned right here. He can spawn anywhere around the map on the outside, any X3 or X3+1 position. In solo mode, they give you a longer window to counter, and they give you this nice yellow indicator so you can see where it is. So stay towards the middle of a con, and you can just look for the yellow and run up and hit the counter. Watch how my sidereal bar is 0 right now. Watch when I hit the counter. Boom, halfway. So every 2 counters, you aim your cursor at the guy in the middle, a con, and you use Thyrane. Huge weak point damage. You probably don't even have to use your weak point skills like I'm doing. You could just get the counters and use the sidereal and let Thyrane do the weak point check for you. So another counter south. Also worth mentioning is anytime you hit a successful counter, it reduces your skills cooldown by like 90% or something. So I just used my W to counter, and it's 1 second off cooldown. So you'll always have your counter up as long as you're only using it to counter the ghost. So I'll Thyrane again here. Use a weak point skill. All right, this is the only tricky part. I would say, well, not the only tricky part, but it is a tricky part. He'll do this cone attack. In the real raid, well, in the group raid with 8 people, he just picks one of 8 folks to target, but you're the only person here in solo mode, so you're always going to get this cone attack. This cone attack hurts very much, So you're going to want to wait till these lines here in the middle, they're slowly moving towards the edge. And this attack will fire when the lines reach the edge. So once they get close, you're just waiting to spacebar out of it, but you have to wait till the cone stops moving. So you'll see this cone's moving, and these lines are about to go off. Spacebar. Counter. Rinse and repeat. Counter. Thyrane. He's already gone. So I'm pretty sure if you got 3 Thyranes, I don't know if 2 would do it. I don't think 2 will do it by themselves, but I think 3 Thyranes or 6 counters, if you have 0 sidereal meter, would probably get it done without you using any skills. That'll take a little bit getting used to, but that is all of gate 2. All right, gate 3 time. I suggest for battle items, you don't necessarily need anything. You could bring dark grenades if you want to help push damage. You can bring time stops if you're having trouble with certain mechanics. Gate 3 is really, really heavy into normal attack patterns, and it is going to take you a while to get used to them. Some of these attack patterns are absolutely devastating for damage and the meter generation that it grants you. So gate 3 mechs, we'll just hop right in. The very first one you're going to do is a stagger mech. But the twist on it this time is you can see right away in your minimap these 3 blue dots. What's going to happen is these towers are going to spawn in the 4 corners, and they're going to shoot a laser at Akkan. In order to actually stagger him, the lasers need to be blocked by a teammate. They did this cool thing in solo mode where they spawn you these little phantom teammates. So that's what those blue dots are. You'll see they will block those lasers, see? So you only have to block 1 tower. That's all you can block. So the adventurers are blocking the other ones. You block the one that's left and just stagger the boss. Right at the start, you're going to see these giant blades, these guillotines fall from the sky. They will just one-shot you. So don't stagger. Don't worry about staggering right off the start here. Just dodge the red indicators on the ground. You'll see they all fall. Dodge these. They're one-shots. Once they swing, block the laser and just stagger. It seems like a relatively decent stagger check. If you don't have a high stagger class, you might want to change that buff you get to stagger, and you could also bring whirlwinds instead of darks. You don't need darks, it's just a damage boost. You can bring whirlwinds to help this mechanic, but that's it. Once you stagger him, you're done. So the next mech, the boss will teleport to the right hand side here, and when you're doing group content, this is when you sidereal, but it's a little different in solo. You don't need to. You have a lot of freedom on when you want to use the side in this fight as a solo raider. So he'll come over here. I just did some damage. What you're going to want to do is run to the left side. There's going to be a purple chain, and your whole purpose is to get this purple chain attached to Akkan. So you start on the left, and you have to run it over. It's attached to you, and put him between you and the chain to make it grab him. So let's see, you just run in front of it. It'll take a second to actually attach to you. So I'm just running back and forth. Eventually, boom, there it goes. As I run, I get this lethargy stacks that slow me down. They did a fun thing again for solo raiders, is they spawned an adventurer up top and they spawned an adventurer in the middle. The adventurer in the middle is blocking a laser. Just like the stagger mech, this is also a stagger check, and you have to block this laser that's in the middle. So they spawned a little adventurer to help you out here. He's blocking the laser, so you don't have to worry about it. This guy, his sole purpose is to let you lose your lethargy stacks. So run halfway, and then you'll see I'm going to attach this chain to him. Wait a couple seconds for these stacks to go off me. Boom, it attaches to him instead. These stacks count down. And once they go away, I have my full move speed. Let them drop off. Now I go back, pick the chain up again. And then I run all the way to Akkan. And you just run behind him, attach the chain. Bingo. Stagger time. And you're done. That's the mech. The next mechanic you're going to do is called towers. This is unique for solo mode, the way they did it. Normally, you're responsible for only one tower, and you have to turn these lasers to make a shape. In solo mode, there's going to be 2 towers that you need to turn. So there's only 2 possible shapes, hexagon or a star. And you just use the other towers to figure out what shape they want you to make. So when I'm looking at this, I can see that there's a lot of towers that look like a hexagon and there's just 2 blank spaces. So I want to turn this tower here north so the laser attaches, and then I want to turn this tower right up top over here just to complete the hexagon shape. So you'll see you run over, you just press G. Do not, these lasers will do damage to you. The black lasers will do a tremendous amount of damage to you very quickly. So if you have to cross over, you know, there's a bad path and you have to cross a black laser, just spacebar. The white ones do much less damage. So you don't have to worry about it if you have to walk through them. So watch, spacebar through, and you'll see sometimes they'll turn from black to white depending on if the tower with the neighboring lasers attached to them. So I just rotate this one. It looks like in solo mode, they turn 90 degrees every turn. So that's all you have to worry about. Once this shape is done, just run to the middle, beat up Akkan. If you want to use Thyrane right now just to push extra damage, this is a pretty decent time to do it. He's sitting still, it'll always hit. You'll see once this tower connects, the screen zooms out, you could Thyrane if you want. If you're having trouble with your plague meter, you can use Anana at any time during the fight, and that'll reduce your plague meter for you. The last component of the normal fight here before you get to the final phase is what they call the sewers underground. In solo mode, you are responsible for clearing up the battlefield. So when you do this in a group content, 7 people are up top, 1 person goes down below. The way you go down below is you pick this lantern up. I might have picked it up before. I'll show you when we drop it later. But you pick this lantern up and then you teleport down below. So I just picked that lantern up. That's just on the ground. Didn't give myself a lot of room here to catch this in frame, did I? Okay, whatever. I'll show you guys later. It's just an item on the ground. It always spawns in the bottom left of the map on the first mechanic. You pick it up and you see you instantly teleport down below. These poison eggs, they show up as puddles, poison puddles above. The lantern, while you're holding this lantern and you're down below, you can kill these little eggs and despawn the puddles. The way you do this is you'll see I have 2 skills, Q and W, and then this last one, R, will make me drop the lantern. You hold Q, it's a channel, it shoots a little beam, and it'll kill these eggs if you shoot it. The W is a cone petrify, and the only thing that is useful for is mobs will be trying to attack you down here. If you want to freeze them in place, you can just use the W petrify. You can also kill them with your Q laser, or you can just kite them around because they spawn forever. If you kill them, more just keep spawning. You'll figure out what you like doing the most, whatever your preferred method is. So pick it up, and then I start shooting this laser. Walk around, shoot the laser, see these little shadow guys. See that guy was in front of the laser. You can kill him if you want. I think I show the W in a second. Boom, they're petrified. That's what you do. So if you're field above when you're fighting and it's taken a while, if there's a bunch of green puddles and you don't have a lot of room to walk around, go pick up that lantern, come down here and clean up the battlefield. Then you just drop the lantern and go back and resume the fight. So you drop the lantern, instantly teleported back out here. Your goal is to get him to around 32 health bars. And that's the last phase of the fight. So we'll get there in a second, and then I'll show you guys this. So he teleports to the middle. And what I recommend is you stand right behind him, because he's going to slam the ground a few times with the scythe. And you don't want to take damage here, get killed. right when you're at the final phase of the fight. So you'll see here in a second, the ground will change color in a certain pattern. See that? This is where damage is coming. So you can stand over here if you'd like. You can stand over here if you like. I just stand back here always. Force of habit, I suppose. All right. Once you do that, it'll be a cutscene. I'll let you guys enjoy that and watch the cinematic when you're doing the raid. But this is the final phase of the tower. What I recommend as new players is you want to have your sidereal meter almost full or full going into this tower. And the reason is he has 30 health bars. But if you have this sidereal filled, you can win at 15 health bars instead by using Whey. So we're almost there. So we're going to fight him to 15 health bars. And then if you use Whey, just aim your cursor right at the boss and use Whey. It'll do a special interaction where they fight each other and Whey wins and you win. So what's tough about the tower is tons of mobs are swarming you constantly. While that's happening, Akkan will shoot 3 different types of lasers and try and knock you off the map. It's really fun. So he'll spin around and try and shoot you. He has 3 different lasers. You'll see he'll spin and then he'll stop when he's about to fire the laser. He can shoot a giant laser right in front of him. He can shoot 2 lasers from the left and the right out of both hands on the side. And then he can shoot a smaller laser in front of him, but this one does a 360. This is the worst one, all right? So I recommend you always chase his butt. Always try and stay on his butt and do damage when you can. So let's watch here. You can see this laser charging up, and then he's about to cast it right now. Save your spacebar for dodging the laser. If you're stuck on some mobs, don't use your spacebar unless you're dodging this laser, because that's a really bad feeling when you just use your spacebar, then it's on cooldown, and then you need it to dodge the laser and you get knocked off. So that's the biggest tip I could tell you. Save that spacebar. So we'll keep fighting. That was the big laser in front. Let's see which one we get next. This is the rotating small laser. So you'll see he just rotates in a circle. I got to go this way. See how I'm stuck on the mobs there, space barred. Just that way the laser wouldn't reach me. We got side laser again this time. Sidereal's up. Another laser's about to fire. This is the big front laser. Those mobs are blocking me from getting close to him to do damage. That perfect swing didn't hit. All right, so let me back up for 1 second so you guys can see this. As soon as his health bar gets to 15, so it's at 18 right now, I use this attack and it gets him to 15. Boom. So he's at 15 bars. It doesn't matter if he's about to shoot his laser. If he's shooting a laser, Whey will interrupt him and end the fight. So I aim my cursor and I use Whey right now. Boink. You don't have to worry about the mobs or anything else. Whey's on the bottom left here. I think I move so you can see it. They do a little Dragon Ball Z fight here. Kamehameha versus Kamehameha. Whey's stronger than Akkan, confirmed. And you're done. You just did Akkan, gamers. Hopefully this was a very helpful video for you. I will try and do these on, I guess, the later, harder solo raids, but I'm happy to do them. I got footage of all the solo raids. If anybody wants me to do one on a lower guide, I'm happy to do it. If you guys want me to go over anything specific, I stream on Twitch every day but Sunday. So the best way to ask is just to come by and tell me if you want me to make a video, a guide on something, and I'll be happy to do it. If you have any questions, swing by there, let me know. Twitch TV/Nutris. And I hope you enjoyed the video and have a great day. Thanks, guys.